federal employee chopping block.
Some scattered rain today, maybe a few wet snowflakes, mainly to the north. The slipperiness of this morning is all but gone here. A high of 42 degrees today. Mostly cloudy, chance for some rain later tonight, and a low of 34. 36 and cloudy in Milwaukee at 11:01. From the WTMJ breaking newsroom, 2 people injured after an argument leads to a Madison City bus crashing into a restaurant.
Witnesses on board say a female passenger had become upset when she learned the bus was not going to her desired location. That's when they say she began pushing and shoving the driver before the bus crashed into Asian House on Dempsey Road. One passenger was taken to the hospital while a second was treated on scene with minor injuries. Before officers could arrive, the suspect left the scene and no arrests have been made as of this morning. The bus has since been removed from the restaurant. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
46, we have 2 PMV, 1 confirmed gunshot wound to the head. 46, we're going to have to continue to clear the residence.
72 is at hospital.
Master Street at hospital.
All squads, Channel 1's restricted to incident on Drake Lane. Everyone else switched to TAC 1.
A man and a woman found shot to death in Franklin last night. Their bodies found in a home near Drake Lane in Mission Hills. Police say there's no apparent threat to the public. They're now working to pinpoint what led to that shooting.
President Donald Trump's administration says federal agencies should begin planning to eliminate employee positions. The process is known as a reduction in force. Agency leaders must submit their plans by March 13th. After downsizing the federal workforce, laying off probationary employees, the administration is turning its attention to career officials with civil service protection.
Billionaire Elon Musk donated $200 million to the Trump campaign as part of a super PAC. But super PAC donations may soon be limited in how much they can give to a political campaign. Managing editor for the Badger product, Peter Cameron, tells WTMJ a law in Maine limits campaign contributions to $5,000, meaning billionaires wouldn't have as much say in campaigns as regular citizens.
In theory, it would bring the wealthy a little closer to the rest of us in terms of how much political speech they're allowed.
Cameron says he expects this law to head to the Supreme Court for a final decision.
One person has died from a measles outbreak in West Texas. It comes as the virus continues to spread across the state, with more than 120 cases reported in 9 counties. It all started in the unvaccinated community of Mennonite, which is a religious community that typically does not vaccinate. CBS's Omar Villafranca has more from Lubbock.
Some of the early numbers that we saw from the state is that most of it is hitting children in the community, 17 and under. I mean, I'm talking a majority of the cases are children, but people who are getting it, who are not part of the Mennonite community, could be getting it if they were not vaccinated themselves. We've seen vaccination rates drop several points here over the last 10 years.
Officials are meeting in Austin to discuss how to better contain the outbreak. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Lots of green today as the Dow fights back, trying to regain some losses from yesterday. Currently up about 82 points at 43,703. The NASDAQ bouncing back up about 220 at 19,245. S&P 500 right on the threshold of 6,000, currently up 42 points on the day. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. It's financial planning at every level. For details, visit annexwealth.com.
Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:04.
I haven't had anything to eat for days, and being hungry hurts.
Going without oil changes can destroy your engine, but it doesn't compare to the effect of going without food. That's why the Automobile Dealers Association of Metro Milwaukee is determined to make sure no one goes to bed hungry. Through March 1st, they'll donate $1 from every oil change to Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin. Every dollar provides 3 healthy meals. Over the past 14 years, Adam has donated over $890,000, providing more than 2.6 million meals to people across southeast Wisconsin, the majority being children and seniors. And with today's ongoing challenges, the need is greater than ever. So help the hungry while helping your vehicle. Get your oil changed by Adam Dealer Factory Trained Techs at a price as low or lower than independent shops. Visit an Adam member dealer near you.
For a list of participating dealers, visit adamm.com. MatzekCars.com.
Look what I found.
What is it?
It's a list of the traditional and modern anniversary gifts for each year of marriage.
Sarah and I use a different list. But go ahead and tell us about yours.
The traditional gift for your first anniversary is paper, but the modern gift is a clock.
Well, our list says the first anniversary is always diamond jewelry.
What's your list called?
The People's Choice.
The traditional gift for your 6th anniversary is iron, but the modern gift is wood.
What a coincidence. For the 6th anniversary, our list says diamonds again. What do you have for the 10th anniversary, Rick?
Traditional is aluminum, modern is diamond jewelry.
Well, there you go. Our lists agree. What have you got for the 7th anniversary?
Copper and a desk set.
Nope. Diamonds again.
I'm beginning to see the wisdom of the People's Choice list.
It's good to have you on board.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Did you make up that People's Choice list, or is it real?
Well, we're people, aren't we?
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Cactus League play continues for the Brewers today against the Dodgers, a game you can hear on WTMJ beginning at 2 o'clock. The team signs veteran Mark Canha to a minor league contract. Canha was acquired by the Brewers in a trade deadline deal in 2023.
I loved my last stint here. It was an awesome time for me, and happy to be back here. I love this group. I love this staff and everything, and it's just a good fit.
On-field activities begin Thursday at the NFL's annual Scouting Combine in Indianapolis, and the Bucs return home to face the Denver Nuggets Thursday night, following a 100-97 loss to the Rockets on Tuesday.
Taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. I like what I'm seeing. No crashes, no disabled vehicles. In fact, the only incident, you have to go all the way out to the Janesville or Madison area to find it. Fingers crossed it stays that way. We'll let you know.
Some scattered rain expected today with a high of 42 degrees, mostly cloudy tonight and a low of 34. More rain in the forecast on Thursday. It's going to be mostly cloudy, kind of a carbon copy of today, a high of 43. Cloudy, windy, mild on Friday with a high of 53. Then we drop off. Saturday's high just 31, Sunday's high just 34 degrees. 36 and cloudy in Milwaukee at 11:08.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Matzek and Jessica Tighe.
Well, happy National Pistachio Day to those who follow and observe. What a wonderful day it is. What a healthy and fun nut.
You really like a pistachio latte, but you didn't get that today, did you?
Well, I got the pistachio cream cold foam something or other. It's a mouthful.
Oh, you did get a pistachio
It's got a lump of foam here on the top of this cold brew.
Honoring the day.
Our producer Gina made a little coffee run in honor of National Pistachio Day. Now, occasionally, this takes you again behind the scenes when we're in our production studio and we're planning out our show. We take it very seriously, not a wasted minute. Until Gina starts lobbing pistachios in my direction, I have to catch them in my mouth. Once I catch 3, we can go back to resuming our planning.
And there I am in the corner going, geez.
Usually bouncing off my head or my tooth or something like that. But a very special day. Thank you, Gina, for the coffee. And we hope you observe National Pistachio Day. Some big stories that we're following here as we hit 11:09 on a Wednesday.
And now it's time for 3 Big Things on Wisconsin's Midday News.
Number 1, and happening now, President Donald Trump is hosting his first cabinet meeting of his second term, and his most powerful advisor is there, Elon Musk. ABC Chief Political Correspondent Rachel Scott has the details from Washington.
Unlike the other cabinet secretaries that will be seated at the table, Musk was not confirmed by the United States Senate. He's considered a special government employee, and he will be coming face to face with some of the top Trump officials who pushed back against his ultimatum to federal workers to list their accomplishments in the past week or lose their jobs.
So Musk just spoke. He stood up and he said he was tech support. In fact, he's wearing a T-shirt that says tech support. And he said that Doge was doing a lot of work to fix the government computer systems. He also added later on that he's received many death threats over the work that he's been doing, which, of course, has a lot of people losing their jobs right now. But Elon Musk is the most talked about man in the country right now. What is it like to work for him? Coming up in our next half hour, a Wisconsin man, a Milwaukee native who worked under Musk at SpaceX, He's going to join us live in the studio. He has a fascinating perspective on Musk and what makes the guy tick. The conversation coming up at 11:35.
And no goofing around here either. We have the contract, like the contract he signed to go to work for SpaceX.
Yeah,
it's got his offer letter. He sent it to us.
He redacted a couple things, but
Yes.
but I said, I wanted to make sure this was legit. So I said, can you send me at least 2 things that prove that you worked at SpaceX in this capacity under Musk? And that's how I got the contract.
I got 3 weeks vacation. I pulled that out of the letter. Number 2, surprise at the VA Medical Center in Milwaukee and the abrupt firings of 10 workers, 3 of them veterans. James Stansel served in the Army. He worked at Zablocki for just under a year, explaining to WISN-TV how he found out from a supervisor he was being let go.
Can I see you a minute? Sure, what's going on? Well, check your email. I'm not sure, but I think you might have been terminated. What?
Well, the orders for the firings came from the VA's chief human capital officer. The message said Stansel's performance wasn't up to par, but he and his supervisor disagree.
Number 3, more bad news if you're buying eggs. ABC's Ariel Resheff.
With a nationwide egg shortage from bird flu, the USDA now warns the price of eggs is expected to jump more than 40% this year, double the increase projected just last month.
The prices are really high. Scarcity, $10 a carton. I got really think twice about that.
And more restaurants are passing those high costs on to customers. The Denny's chain is now joining Waffle House, adding a temporary surcharge to meals with eggs at some of their 1,300 locations.
Demand for eggs typically grows in spring as Easter approaches. The Trump administration is expected to unveil its plan to curb the bird flu as soon as this week. And remember what we learned yesterday? If you're making meatloaf and you don't want to buy the pricey eggs, you can use potatoes instead.
Use applesauce in that banana bread.
Right?
In some respects, there is no alternative, right? You think about all the bakeries here. I know the afternoon show had the folks on from O&H Bakery. A fantastic local baker, been around forever, pounding out Kringles and Putschke. Like, they do it the right way. And when you talk about passing those cost increases onto your consumers, they're very cautious about doing that. If they see an end in sight, you likely won't see a big jump in prices. It's sort of like a last resort. They don't want to, take the trend one way if they feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So it really is something that local bakeries, national restaurant chains, you name it, have to carefully consider before they make a move to pass that cost increase on to consumers.
Yeah, it hits wholesale first, that's for sure.
No doubt. 11:13 on WTMJ. Talking about consumer confidence, it's absolutely sinking right now. The numbers are kind of staggering here. What's behind it all? We'll dive into the numbers and offer a historical perspective after this.
Whatever you want to call this season, we're over it. Time to look forward to
fly ball, right field. It is deep. It is gone!
Spring training is finally here and back on the radio.
Swing and fly ball, right center field. It is up, it is gone!
Make sure to catch our next spring training broadcast as the Brewers take on the Dodgers Wednesday at 2. No matter the season, we are the home of the Brewers. WTMJ.
Save on the best quality furniture and mattresses during the President's Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture. With major discounts from our premier suppliers, you will save big bucks on top brands like Bradenton Young, made in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Bradenton Young is known for its fine quality leather upholstery. Fjords brings you modern Scandinavian design recliners and sofas, ergonomically engineered for more hip and back support. Norwalk, with American roots that go back over 100 years, specializes in making furniture just for you. Choose the piece, style, fabric, or leather you want, and in just 35 days, we'll deliver your new sofa, chair, or sectional. In-stock or special orders are all sale priced. Need a little help putting it all together? At Ken Michaels Furniture, our design staff is ready to help you with your purchases. And it's free. Stop in today and save now during the President's Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit means sit dog training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
Chance of some scattered rain today with a high of 42 degrees. Going to look very much the same tomorrow. Rain in the forecast early, scattered with a high of 42 degrees. We do see a little bump up on Friday, windy and mild, cloudy with a high of 52. And then we drop off. The sun should return over the weekend, but our highs are only in the mid-30s. It's 36 degrees and cloudy in Milwaukee at 11:16. Well, consumer confidence took a big hit in February. The Conference Board Consumer Confidence Index dropping to 98.3. What does that all mean? We'll put it into perspective here, but understand this. It's the largest monthly decline since August of 2021. Growing concerns about the economy, inflation is still a thing, and a trade war may have been started here with President Trump levying tariffs. Wanted to welcome in ABC's Caleb Silver for more on this. Hi, Caleb.
Good to be with you, as always.
And thanks for joining us. So can you put into perspective this precipitous fall, the largest monthly decline since August of 2021?
Yeah, and put it in perspective, we were almost at multi-month highs right after the election. So the big turnaround over the past few months has got everything to do with inflation and inflation expectations. So consumer confidence is measured in a monthly survey by the University of Michigan, and they've been doing it for decades. And they're asking us, how do we feel? Do we feel confident in our job? Do we feel confident in our ability to pay our bills? Do we plan on making big purchases? What are our biggest fears? It's a vibe check on our own personal finances, and the vibes have soured because of rising prices. Now, some of that is driven by groceries. Think about eggs, which has nothing to do with the trade war, has everything to do with avian flu. But when you're paying more every single month, not just for groceries, but for every bill that you pay, you're starting to feeling a little bit worn down by this. Plus the drumbeat around a lot of government job losses has people feeling like the economy might not be as strong as we thought it was coming into 2025.
Caleb, President Trump's tariffs are due to kick in next week. How could that further impact the economy should they be put into place?
Though tariffs are inflationary, full stop, because retailers and businesses pass on those prices to consumers, and eventually we tap out. We stop paying those high prices, and we stop spending, and that slows the economy. But just think about where these tariffs are going to be coming from or imposed next week. That's on Mexico and Canada. That's a lot of produce, so you're going to feel it at the supermarket almost right away if you haven't already. So we're talking about, obviously, avocados from Mexico, but also other types of fruit and vegetables, and also Canada, huge exporter of frozen potatoes to the United States. So you're going to feel it there, but also in the steel, in the oil and gas prices, natural gas. You'll feel those over the next several weeks to the next several months, but the food produce prices you'll feel almost immediately.
Caleb, we've seen the markets grow to record highs, but lately there's been a bit of a cooling off period. Even the likes of Warren Buffett starting to sell, and when he sells, people take notice. What's the impact here on the stock market?
Yeah, so you feel this uncertainty among consumers, and the uncertainty is because we don't know the impact on tariffs. We just know things are going to continue to cost more. Well, that uncertainty has bled its way over into the stock market as well, because investors, especially the big ones, not talking about you, me, and your listeners who dutifully contribute every couple of weeks if we can. I'm talking about the big money. When they can't see the future, they sell. They stop putting money to work. And if you can't see the future in terms of prices, that affects not only investors, but it affects businesses large and small who don't know how much inventory to have on hand right now. They can't forecast their costs out. So uncertainty is like kryptonite for the stock market, which has been trading lower over the last several days after hitting record highs in the euphoria post-election.
Are more people anticipating a recession? We've talked about that so much. Are we going to hit a recession? Are we going to see one? Oh, no, maybe not yet. Okay, maybe it's going to be sooner. Where are we on that right now?
Yeah, you're hearing the drumbeat get a little bit louder, but don't forget that the Trump administration inherited a pretty strong economy. Unemployment was only at 4%, 4.1%. That's historically low. Plenty of jobs available out there. Wages were rising, and the economy was growing at a 3% clip. Well, things have turned a little bit because of the impact or the potential impact on tariffs. But a recession is, there's a technical definition, several quarters in a row of negative growth and a bunch of leading economic indicators turning south. But I think people feel it on a personal level. There are people out there that will tell you they've been in a recession since COVID. They never got out of it. A lot of small businesses, a lot of lower income people who haven't benefited from the rise in stock prices, in home prices, they just watch prices that they pay every month rise. So recessions are kind of personal, too. The overall economy is kind of far from one, but a lot of people feel like they've been in one forever.
Hey, Caleb, I was going to ask if there's any historical perspective on how it shifts people's spendings, what they funnel their money towards during a time where there's uncertainty versus when things are operating and, in full steam ahead.
Absolutely, and look no further than Walmart's latest quarterly results. This is the biggest retailer around, brick and mortar, and one of the biggest online. They are telling us that consumers are pulling back. They're only buying the essentials, what we call the staples in the investing business. These are the detergents. This is food. This is produce. This is the ability to feed your home, feed your family, and they're spending less on the discretionary items. You see it also in travel. You see it also in big-ticket purchases like cars because rates are so high to borrow for cars. So you're seeing us buying more what we need, not what we want.
ABC's Caleb Silver. Great information, Caleb. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Caleb.
Thank you.
Coming up next, Canadians perhaps a little miffed about the whole tariff idea and perhaps not even liking the idea of the Gulf of Mexico being named the Gulf of America are fighting back. Wait till you see how.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for QC Kinetics. I get a lot of questions about QC Kinetics treatments, people asking if they should consider it for their own joint pain. Well, here's how you know. If you answer yes to any of these questions. Is your quality of life impacted by chronic pain in your knees or hips or shoulders or other joints, trouble sleeping or walking? Do you want to avoid surgery, a long recovery, and uncertainty that comes with it? And most importantly, do you miss doing the things you love because joint pain is holding you back? If you answered yes to any of these questions, don't wait. Call now. Call QC Kinetics and ask for your free consultation and learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine can help you get lasting relief. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
Namaste.
Dan, what are you doing?
Shh, you're harshing my mellow. Join me in some breathing exercises to chase away the chaos.
Let's focus on our clients since we offer an exceptional way to control the chaos.
Inspired Closets can more than double your closet storage space.
And we don't over-design projects, sending you 3 beautiful designs to fit your price point.
Plus, our true lifetime warranty makes it a no-brainer.
Get started today at InspiredClosetsMilwaukee.com.
Inspired Closets.
A wife and husband team.
Blaine's Farm and Fleet Spring Workwear event is going on now, and we have a great selection of quality workwear styles at unbeatable prices. Like 30% off men's work and sport pocket tees, $10.49 each. Save $10 on Ariat Rebar Made Tough work pants. New at Blaine's, men's brunch workwear apparel, 25% off. Plus, earn $30 in Carhartt bucks for every $125 spent on Carhartt gear. We've got the value you need to do things your way. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Being original.
Hey, what's this bump called? What is this?
Black coffee in bed.
Black Coffee, in, bed? That's the name of the song?
Don't spill.
Yes.
Jeez, be careful. Yeah.
Kind of liked it in the beginning.
Yeah, a little jazzy, a little vibey. Mm-hmm. All right, so Canadians are a little upset right now, right? They're not happy with what is happening here with President Trump in America. They hate the idea of tariffs. Totally get it. Totally understand it. I'm guessing they don't like the idea of being considered the 51st state.
Yep, they don't want that.
They probably don't like the whole Gulf of Mexico turned Gulf of America thing. But what can they really do about it, right? Maybe that's the sense of frustration they're feeling, is that they don't really have a lot of power or say in what happens with President Trump here in America. Well, they are fighting back in one way.
Feel like an Americano coffee to start the day? If you're in Canada, better ask for a Canadiano. Many Java joints north of the U.S. border are changing the name of the cafe staple to protest President Trump's 25% tariffs on Canadian products and his calls to make Canada the 51st state. It's not the first sign of pushback. Canadian hockey fans have booed the American national anthem, and more than 230,000 have signed a petition demanding Elon Musk's Canadian citizenship and passport be revoked. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
There are gift shops with the message on shirts and whatnot saying Canada's not for sale. But a Canadiano. Go ahead and order yourself one.
Okay, here's the thing. I was checking into this. There is, up in Canada, there's a cafe. It's called the Kicking Horse Coffee. And I guess they've been calling Americanos, Canadianos quietly for 16 years.
Oh, really?
So they were way ahead of this, but now they're making it official. They're making it a thing. They're doing it. They said we were doing it quietly before. Well, now I guess it's loudly. They're doing it, but they're asking other coffee shops around to jump on board as well, as we're now seeing people do that.
Wait, so what does Tim Hortons do, right? Tim Hortons is the big, like that's the Dunkin' up in Canada. Tim Hortons are everywhere, but I think they have locations in the United States too. So can you change it in one country and not change it in the other?
Good question.
What is an Americano, by the way? I've never had it.
I haven't had it either. I don't really like coffee. I like my coffee with a lot of milk and a lot of flavor. So the Americano is just not something I've ever ordered. But I do know that its origins trace all the way back to World War II.
So an Americano is made by adding hot water to espresso. So you're kind of diluting the espresso. Wasn't it just coffee then? Right?
I guess American GIs stationed in Italy found traditional espresso to be too strong for their taste. To recreate the coffee they were accustomed to drinking back home, they started diluting Italian espresso with hot water. And then boom.
Oh, you will not make the Italians happy if you do that. You don't touch I've learned this being in Italy last year. They are experts. They get this. They understand how this works. Don't add water. Don't add anything. Let them make it, and you just enjoy it.
Well, I guess, the Italian baristas dubbed the modified drink the Americano, basically a playful nod to their American customers who couldn't handle the intensity of that straight espresso.
Oh, very interesting. So the Canadiano, you might see it on a menu and wonder, what the heck is that? Well, it's an Americano renamed in Canada.
Now you know.
Interesting stuff. 11:27 on WTMJ. A reminder, take us with you wherever you go. The Wisconsin's Midday News Podcast. Got a lot of subscribers recently, and we love that. We really appreciate it, too. Built by Siding Unlimited, our podcast. Gina does an incredible job uploading every episode, all of our segments. Sign up, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and take us with you. It's Wisconsin's Midday News Podcast. News coming up in a few.
If you're living with joint pain in your shoulders, hips, elbows, and knees, and you have Medicare or Medicaid insurance, coming to Rejuvenex to solve your pain problems is something you should strongly consider. First off, because our FDA-approved pain treatments have been shown in many cases to be highly effective at reducing inflammation and substantially alleviating pain. Secondly, Medicare and Medicaid cover Rejuvenex treatments, so your cost could be nothing, or next to nothing at all. Chronic pain will only worsen with age. This leads to a far more compromised lifestyle, depression, and soon they start talking surgery. And then what? You have to get in front of arthritis and chronic pain, because the sooner you do, by letting us begin to calm those pain points, the better. I'm Rejuvenex founder Richard Salinas, and we can alleviate your pain so you can rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
Spanning the State with Kristen Bry.
This is a terrible bill. This would probably disproportionately affect Republican women. This is a slippery slope if you start making it harder for women to vote, because there's enough people out there who would rather we didn't.
And Brian Noonan.
Say women were in charge, and this was going for men. Men would take to the streets. Any group that votes against their own self-interest baffles me.
Weekdays from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Only on WTMJ.
$1 doesn't buy much unless you're spending it at Griffin. For just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand, $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. We'll even show you the invoice to prove it. Our only requirements, we put them on for you. Buy one or the whole set. The dollar deal from Griffin. Milwaukee, Waukesha, Fort Atkinson, and Jefferson. Griffin, the buck stops here. The deals on tires don't. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers. Wisconsin's Morning News is here for you every weekday morning starting at 6 a.m. Vince Petrano.
Nearly $800,000 in funding for school resource officers under court order, now approved by the Milwaukee Public School District.
Eric Bilstad.
Israeli officials say the remains handed over to them by Hamas were not the remains of a hostage.
And traffic with Debbie Lozica.
Volume's starting to pick up a little bit more. We're seeing more delays through the stadium interchange.
The news you need to know. Wisconsin's Morning News on WTMJ.
It's 11:30. I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News. It's Wednesday, February 26th. Your top story, on the run after crashing a vehicle into the Milwaukee River.
I'm Jessica Tighe, raising money by running around the world.
Next couple of days are going to look very much the same. A high of 43 degrees, clouds, and some sprinkles expected. Wide scattered showers as well. Overnight low of 34. Tomorrow looks exactly the same. Isolated chance of rain with a high of 43, cloudy and breezy. Up to 53 with clouds and breezy conditions. On Friday, it's currently 36.
ABC News, I'm Mike Dubusky. At his first cabinet meeting of the new term, President Trump says his administration is cutting down the size of the federal government. Billionaire Elon Musk has been tasked with overseeing that effort at the Department of Government Efficiency and defended the federal cuts, saying they are necessary to save the country.
And taking a lot of flack and getting a lot of death threats, by the way. I mean, I like to stack them up, But if we don't do this, America will go bankrupt.
Trump also announced that he will be signing a mineral deal with Ukrainian President Zelensky at the White House on Friday. The Trump administration is directing all federal agencies to promptly begin preparations for large-scale layoffs and restructuring and submit plans to do so by March 13th. That's according to a new memo obtained by ABC News. And actress Michelle Trachtenberg, star of movies like Harriet the Spy and TV shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Gossip Girl, has died. She was 39. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 11:31. A suspect remains on the loose after police say a chase involving a stolen vehicle in Shorewood ended on the banks of the Milwaukee River. The driver sped off during an attempted traffic stop on Tuesday, crashing through a backyard in Milwaukee's River West neighborhood on Vienna Avenue, then landing in the river. A passenger was arrested at the scene. Police have not released a description of the driver.
A man from Pewaukee is safe this morning after he went missing in the jungles of Puerto Rico for 2 days. Abdur Rahman was hiking in El Yunque when a wrong turn on a trail separated him from his group. His son-in-law tells TMJ4 Rahman was found near a river miles from where he first disappeared.
They found him almost 4 towns apart. He walked miles and miles.
Rahman has received medical treatment and is in good condition now.
Another day, another delay for Milwaukee's streetcar.
The main issue plaguing the HOP's L line extension remains weather-related track switch shorts. The city estimates it'll cost $200,000 to replace 2 problematic switches, which have been hampering service on the line for over half of February. And as Department of Public Works Operations Manager Chuck Schumacher explained to the Public Works Committee last week, it's been happening much of this winter.
Unfortunately, have to shut it down when that's happening.
How many times has that happened?
Oh, it's happened numerous times.
Numerous times?
Numerous times, yes.
Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Meanwhile, the streetcar remains without a dedicated manager after Andrew Davis Lockwood resigned in lieu of discharge last October.
Some of you will need to find another place to get deep dish pizza. Lou Malnati's is closing 3 of its 5 Wisconsin locations. Only the Brookfield and Fox Point restaurants will remain open. The Chicago-based pizza chain expanded into Wisconsin in 2019.
In Milwaukee, raising money for cancer research by running around the world. Dr. Clark Gamblin is a Froedtert surgeon and testicular cancer survivor who competed in the 2025 World Marathon Challenge. What does that mean? 7 marathons, 7 continents, 7 days, including Antarctica.
So a team of 65 representing 22 countries assembled in Cape Town, South Africa. Got on an old Russian cargo jet, flew it into the inter portion of Antarctica where only 250 people go in a year or so. It's because there's nothing there outside of a track. And so we ran loops on that track.
Dr. Gambin raised $130,000 for testicular cancer research as part of this once-in-a-lifetime experience.
How great is that? Sports, traffic, and weather next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 11:34.
Tired of staring at the same old garage door? Vince Vitrano here, Lifetime Door Company, wants to give you a new one for free. Your chance to win by texting GARAGE to the WTMJ talk and text line, 855-616-1620. All you need to do is take a picture of your garage door or get creative. Tell us a story. Register to win, and you can pick the door of your dreams. Valued at up to $8,000, text GARAGE to the WTMJ talk and text line, 855-616-1620. For contest rules, visit our website, WTMJ.com.
Do you know or work with kids who have special healthcare needs? Help them live their best lives. Contact Wisconsin Wayfinder Children's Resource Network. Our specialists will connect you with services in your area. Wisconsin Wayfinder is free and confidential. Call 877-947-2929 or visit dhs.wi.gov/WISCWAY. Connect today. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Excel Custom Decks. I at least like to think I'm an expert when it comes to football, but I know Excel are truly experts when it comes to the art of deck building. With the finest materials and products combined with their superior craftsmanship, they'll deliver exceptional quality and value on everything from backyard decks to pergolas and outdoor kitchens. If you can dream it, Rob and his family can build it. Family-owned Excel Custom Decks delivers decking excellence by design. Visit excelcustomdecks.com to learn more.
Are you worried about running out of money in retirement? Wondering about how to pay less taxes? Join me, Tony Drake, for the Retirement Ready Show live every Saturday at noon and Sunday at 7 a.m. on WTMJ 620 or 103.3 FM. We'll talk about smart strategies to help you retire with confidence. Don't miss it.
Drake & Associates LLC is an independent investment advisory firm that offers a variety of different investment vehicles. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as individual investment advice. Drake & Associates LLC does not provide legal or tax advice. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. We've got Cactus League Baseball on the air this afternoon, beginning at 2 o'clock. Brewers take on the Dodgers, the team signing veteran Mark Canha to a minor league deal. He was acquired by the Brewers in a trade deadline deal back in 2023.
I loved my last stint here. It was an awesome time for me, and happy to be back here. I love this group. I love this staff and everything, and it's just a good fit.
On-field activities begin Thursday at the NFL's annual Scouting Combine in Indianapolis, and the Bucs are back home to face the Nuggets Thursday night at Fiserv Forum following Tuesday night's loss to the Rockets.
Let's get you an update on the roads right now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. It was all clear when we checked in at 11 o'clock. I knew that was too good to be true. Something was going to pop up, and it did. It's just a disabled vehicle, though. In Milwaukee County, 4194 South, a little bit beyond the ramp from Layton Avenue. Right shoulder is blocked. I just took a peek at the cameras for you. It's a truck. It's kind of a big one over there, but the nice thing is traffic is very light, so it's not causing any problems right now. I'll let you know if that changes.
Cloudy, gloomy, kind of mild, though, with a high of 42 degrees today. Might see some pops of rain throughout the course of the day and the evening. Overnight low 33. Tomorrow, very much the same as today. A high of 42 degrees, chance of rain under cloudy skies. Friday, up to 52. 36 and cloudy in Milwaukee at 11:37.
Man in the country right now and the richest man in the world. Elon Musk is also President Trump's most powerful advisor. In fact, he's sitting in on the president's cabinet meeting in Washington right now. Imagine what it would be like working with Musk. A Milwaukee native knows firsthand. The former VP of HR for SpaceX, Randy Knaflick, joins us live in the studio. Thanks for being here, Randy.
Hey, great to be here, Jessica.
So what was it like working at SpaceX and reporting directly to Elon Musk?
Yeah, I have to say that it's amazing to think because this was back a while ago, almost 14 years ago, 2011. I'd been working at Google, and I remember a lot of the engineers were saying, the only company I'd ever considered leaving Google for is SpaceX. I thought, what is this company? Yeah. And I happened to know the head of HR at Tesla, who timing-wise happened to call me and say, you need to talk to this guy, Elon. So I was in Zurich, Switzerland at the time with Google, and it was an opportunity to fly to California. So I met with this guy, Elon. And we had a great meeting, and I remember some of the opening lines that he talked to me about, which included, we need to be a multiplanetary species. I nodded, okay. We need to make rockets reusable. It's so silly that we just throw these things away. It'd be like you flying back to Switzerland, and then they throw away the plane. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty dumb. So by some miracle, he offered me a job to be his head of HR. And so left Switzerland, left Google. Many people thought I was crazy with someone who at the time really was only known within the tech community. And I have to say, going from Google to SpaceX was quite a shock and quite a shift. Yes, I moved from Zurich to Los Angeles, great place. But Elon was very intense, very different, and a level that I had, quite frankly, never had seen before in a leader.
So that brings me to the question of working an HR job for Elon Musk, right? I mean, he's got this reputation as a visionary, but also a bit of a bulldozer. Right? So HR for Elon Musk. Does that work?
There was a lot of turnover in this role, I was told, and I think that's part of it, is that the HR role is one of those where you really need to have a synergy with the founder of the company. But it was an intense environment. Elon is very binary about things, and it's remarkable to see the way he was then and a lot of the similar things we're seeing today, but very binary. So everything was very mission-driven. We talked about his goal to colonize Mars. He would see individuals on the team and people who work there, you're either helping us get to Mars or you're not. And it wasn't anything personal. It was about whether this person was going to help us accelerate the mission or not. So turnover was much higher than I had experienced before at Google. And definitely there was a culture of high intensity when you're dealing with a founder who could get to a level of granularity that I had never seen before. And I think that's a big misconception, especially when it comes to very wealthy leaders of organizations, is they think, well, they're hands off, they're directing traffic and that. No. You had to be on top of your game, whether you were a recruiter or you were a welder. His ability to go so deep on any topic just blew my mind. And so you always had to be on your game. And if you weren't, watch out.
What did you learn about Elon Musk and also the environment? You mentioned a couple of things, kind of what the environment was like there. But what did you learn about him? And as we were talking, when I first reached out to you, you said whether he's right about things.
Yeah, he has a pretty strong view of how things should be. So first of all, he operates always from this position of first principles, which is why SpaceX is a company that's done what most countries have never been able to do. First private company to put a vehicle into space in orbit, first private company to dock to the International Space Station, and first company to land a rocket, something nobody ever thought about before. But for Elon, everything comes back to deconstructing everything and coming to this sort of first principles position, which means, how does this work? How can we make it happen? Start from the most basic baseline. And so the idea of a rocket landing is a physics and a lot of computational things, and figured out how to do it. So that was definitely the first part I saw.
And did you find that he's almost always right?
Yeah, that's the hard part, is that when you do go up against him on specific topics, you might think that you have a stronger position, and then he's very confident. And I've seen this a number of times in the news where he goes up against someone and everybody's like, oh, you're going to lose in this, or you're wrong. And you can tell his actual tone changes. So a while ago, I remember there was a Tesla vehicle that there was a magazine doing a review on it. And the vehicle, they said, well, while we were testing it, it ran out of battery. And Elon's like, no, it didn't. And he could check and he could figure out why they were making up this story about it to try to do some negative press. And in the end, he ended up being right. So a lot of times, even recently, I watched a press conference where he was asked about transparency with Doge as it relates to his own investments and such. And if you watch him, his tone very much changes. He gets this, like, what are you talking about? I've built the most transparent process for Doge. Go to doge.gov. You can see everything we're doing. And he's right on that in the way that he firmly believes that he's created something that's be completely transparent.
Did he ever ask you to supply 5 things that you did in the course of a week to help maintain your job?
If you didn't have a regular update and reporting, I went into every one of our one-on-ones with my notes and ready to go, because if you were asked a question about, well, what's our headcount today? Well, and you're the head of HR and you don't know that. It's like you're asking your accountant, well, what did we pay in taxes last year? And you're like, I don't know. So you needed to be on top of things. And so I do think that 5 things you did is a simple test that's getting completely lost in the noise, which is he believes, and again, coming from that first principle, that the organization, again, right or wrong, has grown very, very large and unchecked. And he probably believes that there are people who are not maybe showing up to work. Maybe someone's no longer alive, but still on the records. And so for him, he says, send me an email, tell me the 5 things you did. And everyone's focusing on the content of the email as opposed to send him a darn email. He's just looking to see that you're there. Otherwise, he's going to assume you're not there, and therefore you're putting forward your resignation.
Are you surprised what you're seeing from Elon Musk day in and day out? I mean, right here, right next to the president, wearing that tech support shirt and being asked to talk about all these drastic cuts that are being made. Are you surprised that that's happening since you work directly with him?
Yeah, I'm honestly very blown away at the level that his fame and the way he's known all over the world. He's probably the first or second most popular person in the world, which again, I remember meeting with him, like, who is this guy? And would have no idea that he would rise to that level. that said, it's not surprising that if he sees a problem, and maybe he has a vested interest as the world's largest tax contributor, where he sees there's a lot of waste, a lot of opportunities, and I think the public has to step back a little bit and be skeptical, but also see the opportunity we have here. I heard the SpaceX engineers were going to be going into the FAA to look at what they're doing. Now, if a company of a number of smart engineers and other people can figure out how to land a 20-story rocket on 2 chopsticks, don't you think we'd benefit from that, of upgrading the way that we communicate with airplanes, especially in light of a lot of the things going on? So we have to find that balance where we're not getting caught up in the noise and the politics, and step back a minute, because Elon is truly one of these great innovators. And with that, like we've seen before, Steve Jobs, Isaac Newton, Benjamin Franklin, all these people were disrupting in a way that was often not accepted by their peers and by society at that time.
Randy Knafik is the former VP of HR at SpaceX. So take me through the timeline here. So when did you have that first initial meeting with Elon Musk?
So this would have probably been at the end of 2011 when I had first heard about it, as I mentioned.
Okay. So Tesla was a thing at that point, not what it is today, but Tesla was this idea that had hit the roads, primarily in California. It seemed like everybody was driving a Tesla. So you knew of him, and you knew he had this sort of master plan for things. And when he had that master plan, though he would, I think, get ahead of himself on the launch date for some of those plans, he was able to execute against his plan. Is that kind of what you knew about him at that time?
For sure. I mean, Tesla already was starting to make waves. In fact, a funny side note is I remember being in Zurich, and I thought as part of my negotiation, I would maybe think about, well, could they throw in a Tesla? Of course, that was a little bit silly, but I did get to ride in a Tesla Roadster, which at the time was, the premier new vehicle, and I was just blown away by it. So that was in the fall of 2011. We went back and forth. There were some fun moments where he really wanted to make sure Google knew that I was going to be leaving, so I couldn't resign until he let people know. And then I made the big move, flew over to LA in around the January timeframe. In fact, I got to go to the first unveiling of the Model X, which again, when you see these things in person, you're just, and that's what's frustrating, is we take for granted so much of what he has created with these different companies. And it's a shame that a lot of the politics and rhetoric is tamping that down when we should be celebrating it. I mean, the innovation and how hard the organization worked. When I saw the employees, and SpaceX was really unique because it not only had rocket scientists, but then it also had welders, and it had mechanics and people who got a chance to see their work docking to the International Space Station. So it's been remarkable to see how he's been able to execute on it. You're right. He is very ambitious. He pushes the envelope. There was always internally some jokes about, all right, well, this is the deadline, but are we really going to get there? There's a great book out now that I just finished, which I actually wish I would have read before joining SpaceX, which is by Eric Berger. It's called Re-Entry, and it talks a lot about SpaceX during these pivotal times. I read it just with such a respect and fascination. Again, you can disagree with him politically, but what he's doing for innovation, what he's doing for humanity, if we need a ticket off this planet at some point, like, I would hope that we have an opportunity to colonize another planet.
I asked you earlier what you learned about Elon Musk, but I'm curious, from your time there, what did you learn from him? What are your takeaways after spending that time with him, working directly with Elon Musk?
I think my takeaways are that you want to make sure that you have an absolute conviction in what you're doing. I think first and foremost, I've worked for organizations where, whether we want to call it a mission or such, where they want to do a lot of things. They want to do a lot of different things. Really, most everything that you can look at what Elon is doing will point back to his firm belief that we need to become a multiplanetary species and colonize Mars. So I learned the power of that, not only from an individual perspective, but that's how you rally an entire organization. It's that guiding North Star of what are we going after? What are we going to do? So I learned that in the absence of that, or trying to do too many things okay, are not going to work. And I've watched that. I've been, the company I was with afterwards had a great run, but blew a massive opportunity, raised nearly $1 billion, and ended up going out of business. And a lot of what I saw in the differences between a SpaceX, and at the time this company was called Jawbone, is this lack of execution and focus. And I really try to apply that even what I do in my own life, where if you're going to be doing something, really go all in, focus, make sure others are aware of it so they can help and rally behind it. And that definitely is what set him apart from other founders that I have seen.
Why did you leave SpaceX?
Well, we talked about earlier the importance of the HR role and the head of a company, and it's one of these very dynamic and important roles because you think about the culture of the company, communication, and so the two must get along very well. And so let's just say that it was clear that this may not be the founder that I wanted to most be aligned with. And I also think from a lifestyle standpoint, you really do have to think about what's important, what you want. My wife, some days I joke, I say, well, what if I would have still been there? And she said, I'll tell you one thing, we wouldn't have 3 kids.
Oh.
And it's true. The commitment and the amount of work that the SpaceX and Tesla teams put in is unlike I think most people could even comprehend. I mean, we'd have our weekly one-on-ones, and he would be at SpaceX Monday, Tuesday, and then would fly to Northern California to Tesla. Thursday, he'd be there Wednesday, Thursday, and on Friday, he'd fly back to SpaceX. And so if you met with him, he'd say, did you get this done? I've been really busy. Wait a minute, I'm running 5 companies and you're busy?
Yeah.
So it is a lifestyle, and it is about the moments in which you really understand what's important to you and what things you do value.
Though he found time to have kids, a lot of kids.
A lot of kids, again, comes back to the mission. We need to be a multiplanetary species.
Well, fascinating. Thank you so much for bringing your perspective. That's Randy Knaflick, former VP of HR for SpaceX, who is a Milwaukee native.
Happy to be here.
Time right now is 11:51.
As clutch of a player to ever play basketball.
It's game time on Season 4 of Behind the Bucks on Bucks Plus.
This year, I was like, I need to impose myself more on this team.
Explore Damian Lillard's journey to becoming a top 75 player in NBA history.
That's what really had me feeling like this is going to be great.
Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and H&R benefits consultant. Find Bucks Plus on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and wherever you get podcasts.
Well, they did it again. Siding Unlimited, I'm talking about here. Best of the best in the United States. It's Wisconsin's own Siding Unlimited. That's right. Local and family owned. They've won their 5th National Pella Platinum Premier Certified Contractor of the Year award. That is a national award for Siding Unlimited. 5 in a row. That means they are the best installers of Pella windows in the country. That's what Pella says. Why would you go with anyone else? It's Siding Unlimited right here in Brookfield, and they've got a wonderful family-owned business and a great showroom near Gerke's Corners. Stop in, bring some ideas, bring some pictures, bring some thoughts to Siding Unlimited. They will beautify your home's exterior. They've done it for us. I'm promising they'll do it for you. Visit sidingunlimited.com.
Vince Vitrano here for Connect Chiropractic. Numbness, tingling in the hands, arms, legs, feet. Time to go see Dr. Alex Young and my team at Connect Chiropractic. Regular chiropractic care can bring life-changing results for folks who suffer from neuropathy and fibromyalgia, nervous system issues that can be corrected, and no worries about twisting, cracking, or popping. The docs at Connect Chiro use all the same method, a special tool that is pain-free and effective for your adjustments. Visit them in Delafield and Wauwatosa or get started online at goconnectchiro.com.
What we've found is that when you have workers who feel valued, you get better results. This is why good people and good culture should matter to anyone looking for an exterior remodeling company they can trust. It's going to be your experience and the end result that gives you peace of mind, because you'll know your work was done by people who care. We realized early on that if we were going to change the reputation of this industry for the better, that finding good workers that you could trust to do great work was going to be the key. We're attracting good people every day because we take care of our people. We want to make sure they feel important because they are. And we're going to make sure you feel important and valued too, with excellent customer service and high quality work. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Fascinating discussion with Wisconsin's Randy Knaflick, a former VP of HR for SpaceX. He sent us an offer letter when Elon Musk hired him, which was amazing. So some interesting takeaways there. Go back and listen to the podcast, Wisconsin's Midday News podcast, built by Siding Unlimited. My takeaway, Jessica, is that he appreciates Elon Musk, the visionary, and what he's able to do, how he's able to do it, but also that it became an untenable work environment. He couldn't do it and have a family. that Elon expects you to put as much into your job as he does into his 5 companies.
Well, and it was so fascinating, too, because Randy was talking about how he worked at Google before SpaceX, and people were shocked that he was leaving Google. They're like, what? Where are you going?
Yeah.
And who's Elon and what's SpaceX? And now, look at right here today, you've got Elon Musk right next to President Donald Trump in his first cabinet meeting of his second term.
Which is also interesting, and we're going to talk more about that with Scott McFarlane. What's the mood in the room right now? Elon Musk is appointed. He was not voted in. He is sort of playing vice president right now, or something maybe even a little more grand than vice president, it would appear, alongside Donald Trump. But yes, the first Trump cabinet meeting taking place right now. Elon is there, along with everybody else, all the appointees, everybody else who was voted in by the House Republicans, and it's kind of an interesting environment. Scott McFarlane's going to join us. He's at Capitol Hill coming up at about 12:35. News coming up in a few.
Just like most cars and trucks can't run without oil, no person can function without food. That's why, through March 1st, the Auto Dealers of Metro Milwaukee is contributing $1 from every oil change to Feeding America, Eastern Wisconsin. Every dollar provides 3 healthy meals. Over the past 14 years, Adam has provided more than 2.6 million meals to people in southeast Wisconsin. And now, the need is greater than ever. Find a participating Adam dealer near you at adamm.com.
Hey, WTMJ's Greg Matzek here. I'll be down at the Potawatomi Sportsbook tonight for the weekly wager. You can listen to it from 6 to 7 on ESPN Milwaukee. Would love to see you there as well, maybe throughout college basketball's best month. It is coming. Watch all the great players shine on the court as they chase down the ultimate trophy. It is tournament time. We are knocking on the door. Why not watch all the magic happen at Potawatomi Sportsbook? 2,000 square foot video wall. There's multiple games going on throughout the course of this incredible tournament. You'll see them all. They will all be on the incredible video screen at Potawatomi. Get some food out of the kitchen. Enjoy a full-service bar, even a VIP deck. It's a basketball fan's paradise. Where are you watching the games? Got to be Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Are you sick of not being your bank's top priority? We are too. At Wintrust, we take a different approach to banking. We're proud to be your one true banking partner focused on your unique financial goals. That's right in your backyard. Whether you're opening your first account, buying a home, planning for the future, or starting a business, we have tailored solutions to get you there. Stop settling and start experiencing a better way to bank at Wintrust.com. Wintrust, different approach, better results. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp Banks. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
The Census Bureau says more than 12,000 Americans turn 65 each day. It's a surge they call Peak 65, the highest number in history. Some Annex clients retire early. Some keep working because they love it. You know why? Because they've got custom plans built by fee-only fiduciaries. They identified their wants and needs, and we went to work. We want to do the same for you. Annex does financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Visit AnnexWealth.com and click the Get Started button.
Hey, Wisconsin, WTMJ's Greg Matzek here for Holiday Mazda in Fond du Lac, where the once-a-year auto show sales event is on. Prime time to explore all that's new and score great offers and special savings to get more Mazda for your money and more for your trade. Connect with Holiday for expert help, their low simplified price, and $500 auto show bonus cash on new 2025s. Stackable with offers like low 2.9% 5-year financing for well-qualified buyers on most models, including Mazda CX-30, CX-5, and CX-50. How about the 2-row Mazda CX-70 and 3-row Mazda CX-90? Save even more if you or someone in your household already drives Mazda with owner loyalty rewards. Get qualifying details today and enjoy the award-winning guest care at Wisconsin's #1. It's the stuff that makes fans of drivers from all over the Badger State, and I'm one of them. Find yours and discover the difference at Holiday Mazda in Fond du Lac and holidaymazda.com. It's worth the trip.
Don't count us out. Not
Lillard
yet.
scoops to the hoop, lays it in. The Bucks have taken a 1-point Lopez in transition, squeezes up a 3, and he drilled it. The Bucks throwing fire.
This season is far from over.
To work with, drives inside and stuffs it down with the right hand. 59 points now for Giannis. He's tapping his chest as he goes the other way, saying, "This is my house.
We are the home of the Bucks.
This is my house."
WTMJ.
Traffic is brought to you by Rejuvenix, your non-surgical joint therapy experts.
Your trusted and relevant source for news, sports, traffic, and weather. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
It's 12 o'clock. I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Wednesday, February 26th. Your top story, no threat to the public after 2 people are found dead in Franklin.
I'm Jessica Tighe. Downsizing the federal government could also mean moving the office.
Scattered rain, some slippery spots early. That should be all gone as we're warming up a little bit. High of 42 today, overnight low of 34. Rain in the forecast tomorrow. Very similar to today, scattered rain with a high of 43 degrees. It's currently 37 and cloudy in Milwaukee. At 12 o'clock from the WTMJ breaking newsroom happening in Franklin.
46, we have 2 PMV, 1 confirmed gunshot wound to the head. 46, we're going to have to continue to clear the residence.
72 is at hospital. Master Street at hospital.
All squads, channel 1's restricted to incident on Drake Lane. Everyone else switched to TAC 1.
A man and woman found dead, shot Tuesday night at a home near Drake Lane in Mission Hills. Police say there is no apparent threat to the public, but they're working on what led up to the shooting.
2 people are hurt after an argument led to a Madison City bus crashing into a restaurant.
Witnesses on board say a female passenger had become upset when she learned the bus was not going to her desired location. That's when they say she began pushing and shoving the driver before the bus crashed into Asian House on Dempsey Road. 1 passenger was taken to the hospital while a second was treated on scene with minor injuries. Before officers could arrive, the suspect left the scene and no arrests have been made as of this morning. The bus has since been removed from the restaurant. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
President Trump's administration says federal agencies should begin planning to eliminate employee positions. Agency leaders must submit their plans by March 13th. After downsizing the federal workforce, laying off probationary employees, the administration is turning its attention to career officials with civil service protection. The Trump administration's memo also includes a provision to consider moving federal offices to cheaper rent areas. That would open the door to relocating much of the federal bureaucracy from Washington, D.C. to more conservative areas of the country.
A case in Maine could impact how political campaigns are funded in the U.S. Managing editor for the Badger Project, Peter Cameron, tells WTMJ the law approved by voters would limit campaign contributions to $5,000 for a single donor.
The question now is, can you cap what's going to a super PAC, to an independent political organization, not a political party, not a political candidate?
Current super PAC contributions are unlimited per election. Cameron says the case will most likely head to the Supreme Court, and if approved, changes would impact multiple states and their election laws.
A child who was not vaccinated has died from measles in West Texas. It's the first death in the outbreak that began late last month and the first from measles in the country since 2015. The Texas Department of State Health Services says the death was a school-aged child who was not vaccinated and had been hospitalized last week. There are currently over 120 cases of measles across Texas in 9 counties, and none confirmed currently in Wisconsin. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is now sinking here a little bit, down 140 points at 43,483. The NASDAQ is up about 100 points at 19,127. S&P 500, modest gainer today, up about 13 at 5967. For sound financial advice from a fee-only fiduciary, it's Annex Wealth Management. Go to annexwealth.com and click on the Get Started button today.
Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is coming up on 12:04.
Finding the special healthcare resources families need just got easier. Wisconsin Wayfinder Children's Resource Network helps kids with delays, disabilities, special healthcare needs, and mental health conditions. Call toll-free 877-947-2929. Ask questions. Get answers. Connect today toll-free 877-947-2929. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
So close you can smell the rubber on their shoes. Okay, maybe not that close. but as close as you can get. Bucks Insiders on Wisconsin's Midday News with Greg Matzek and Jessica Tighe.
Here's a pass inside to Giannis. Giannis guides it through as he took the feed from Lillard, his second assist to Giannis.
It's Bucks Insiders every Thursday at 12:35. Sponsored by Best Electric and Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Staying active, essential for overall health. Proper medical support, essential for staying active. WTMJ's Vince Vitrano for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Whether it's keeping a weekend warrior like me on the tennis court or keeping young athletes in the game, you want the best in sports medicine, that's OAW. Surgeons, nurses, and physical therapists help you recover from injury, avoid injury in the future, and enhance performance. Get care 7 days a week. Walk right in at an Ortho ASAP clinic or book an appointment online at orthowisconsin.com.
Namaste.
Dan, what are you doing?
Shh, you're harshing my mellow. Join me in some breathing exercises to chase away the chaos.
Let's focus on our clients, since we offer an exceptional way to control the chaos.
Inspired Closets can more than double your closet storage space.
And we don't over-design projects, sending you 3 beautiful designs to fit your price point.
Plus, our true lifetime warranty makes it a no-brainer.
Get started today at InspiredClosetsMilwaukee.com.
Inspired Closets.
A wife and husband team.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. Brewers and Dodgers today. You can hear it right here on WTMJ with coverage beginning at 2 o'clock. The team signs veteran Mark Canha to a minor league contract. Canha was acquired by the Brewers in a trade deadline deal in 2023.
I loved my last stint here. It was an awesome time for me, and happy to be back here. I love this group. I love this staff and everything, and it's just a good fit.
On-field activities begin Thursday at the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis, and the Bucks return home to face the Denver Nuggets Thursday night, following a 100-97 loss to the Rockets on Tuesday.
Checking out the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Good news, everybody. No big crashes. Really no disabled vehicles either. In fact, we would have to travel all the way out to Janesville to find a disabled vehicle. That's some great news. Keep our fingers crossed it stays that way.
Well, what's happening in Janesville? Everything okay? Just a disabled vehicle?
Just a disabled vehicle in light traffic, so it's really not impacting much.
Yeah, mild volume in Janesville today.
Beep, beep.
Mild temperatures continue as well. A high of 42 degrees, scattered rain possible. It's going to be that way tonight with a low of 34. And then again tomorrow, isolated rain possible, mostly cloudy and breezy, a high of 43. 53 the high on Friday, 31 the high on Saturday. We cool off here for the weekend. 37 and cloudy in Milwaukee at 12:07.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Matzek and Jessica Tighe.
Is traffic usually pretty light in Janesville around this time of day? I would have to think, right?
I think so.
Yeah, it's mild.
I'll be honest, we don't really focus on Janesville usually.
Sure.
But when there's nothing going on, I gotta hunt. I've got my binoculars. Like, where's something going on? That's the only thing going on right now.
We do have this map system that aids in traffic, and it really helps when the cameras are actually working in the areas that we're trying to describe what's going on the roads.
Oh, that's true.
But you get a full zoom out with all these little alert, exclamation points all across the freeway systems at any part of the state, which is kind of interesting. So yes, we can actually see what's happening in 43 North near Brown Deer Road, or out in Janesville, or up in Minocqua. It's kind of wild.
But now I feel like we need to also preface this by telling people we don't see every little thing, because there might be a tiny fender bender in your neighborhood, and I can't see that.
Yeah. It's a limiting system, but we give you the best we can. 12:08 on WTMJ, flipping to the noon hour and following some major stories.
It's now at noon on Wisconsin's Midday News.
President Donald Trump just held the first cabinet meeting of his second administration, and he invited billionaire ally Elon Musk. During the cabinet meeting, Trump praised Musk's efforts at the Department of Government Efficiency, even though the administration told a federal judge that Musk is not actually running the agency. He also asked Musk to speak. Musk defended the federal cuts, saying they're necessary to save our country.
I'm taking a lot of flack and getting a lot of death threats, by the way. I mean, I like to stack them up, But if we don't do this, America will go bankrupt.
A Milwaukee native knows firsthand what it's like to work with Elon Musk. The former VP of HR for SpaceX, Randy Knaflick, joined us during our first hour of Wisconsin's Midday News, and we asked him what he learned from Musk.
I think my takeaways are that you want to make sure that you have an absolute conviction in what you're doing. I think first and foremost, I've worked for organizations where, whether we want to call it a mission or such, where they want to do a lot of things. They want to do a lot of different things. Really, most everything that you can look at what Elon is doing will point back to his firm belief that we need to become a multiplanetary species and colonize Mars. So I learned the power of that, not only from an individual perspective, but that's how you rally an entire organization.
It was a fascinating discussion. We also talked about the type of environment Musk creates at work and his ultimate goal. More on that. If you missed it, download Wisconsin's Midday News podcast.
Or text the word midday to our talk and text line, 855-616-1620. Text the word midday. We'll get you the information for our podcast sent right to your mobile device. Well, we knew about Kias being the object of affection for those who like to steal vehicles. Well, police in Ohio are now warning about another group of car thieves targeting another particular brand.
Cleveland authorities now say thieves are targeting Jeep Cherokees and Grand Cherokees using a special scanner that can clone the SUV's key fob, a process that apparently takes less than 2 minutes. About 20 Jeeps have been stolen using the technology since November. Police say the vehicles have been used in some violent crimes, including drive-by shootings. They add that any vehicle can be vulnerable to this type of theft. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
And what happens in one part of the country tends to travel to other parts of the country, right? This is kind of what happens. You just get a little sense of the technology and how to make it work for you, and you're off and running.
I know, there's part of you that doesn't want to tell the people out there how they're doing it, but they find out. A quick little Google search, people find out.
This happened to me once. So you talk about owning a Nissan Altima. I also, at one point in my life, owned a Nissan Altima. And I was going out to my vehicle after grocery shopping and hitting the button, the unlock button.
Yeah.
Beep, 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 beep.
Beep, beep. Where's my car?
I actually didn't know where my car was, so I was hitting the lock button to actually try and get the beeping sound to tell me where my vehicle was. I'd forgotten. But I noticed the lights going off on another Nissan parked reasonably close to where I was.
Oh, I don't like that.
And I was like, well, that can't be. Like, what? It was.
Is that just an odd coincidence?
I think so, but the technology should be just synced up with your vehicle, and that's it. But you can get a glitch here and there. I think that was some sort of glitch. I ended up getting into my own vehicle and driving away.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Beep, beep to that. Well, you're paying more for that cup of coffee, and not just at Starbucks. The price of coffee is at a 50-year high, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. 50-year high. A recent New York Times article suggests climate change is a contributing factor. Peter Goodman wrote that article and shares some of his findings.
Climate change is raising temperatures, and coffee is traditionally grown in shady places, high elevation. Higher temperatures hurt crops. But then we've had excessive rainfall in places. We've had droughts in others, most notably in Vietnam and Brazil. These are the world's two largest coffee producers.
Coffee prices have gone up 23% since the start of the year. The average price of a pound of coffee is up 70% since 2020.
That's crazy. So if you go to whatever store you like to go to and buy the beans, you're paying that much more than you were 5 years ago.
I wish we were back to the days when it was... If the cup of coffee was going up to $5, that felt expensive. Now it's like you can spend $7 easily for a little latte.
It does get a little bit out of hand, right? The cheapest way to do it is really to just kind of do it at your own house.
Oh, yeah. Make it at home.
And they got some funky machines that allow you to do pretty much everything you would have done for you at a coffee shop in your own home, which is amazing. I feel like we need a separate website. We've got GasBuddy.com. We need like Egg Buddy, Coffee Buddy. Right, the average price of a carton of eggs, the average price for a pound of coffee.
Coffeecup.com.
There you go.
How much is it today?
I like that idea.
Track it.
There you go. Trademark that. Gina, write it down. We'll get the domain name.
I'll get on that after
in the break. 12:13 on WTMJ. You've heard of the Olympics. This is nothing even close to that. We'll explain after this.
The Upswing with Jeff Sherman.
What are you seeing in terms of availability and pricing, and has it impacted your
poke restaurants?
Egg prices have been crazy right now. I've talked to a couple of our vendors, and they were joking at we're entering at this time of the market, and I think things will level out in the next month or 1 to 3 months. I think by the time we open, it should be somewhat leveled out, and we'll figure it out.
Weekdays from 10 to 11 on WTMJ. Presented by Horicon Bank, the natural choice for all your banking needs.
How would you like to own a jewelry store? Kessler's Diamonds is an employee-owned company.
And Kessler's is growing. Are you the kind of person we're looking for?
Does it make you happy to make other people happy? Are you a problem solver?
Would you like to wake up every morning knowing that you're going to help a lot of people find joy today?
Kessler's Diamonds is people serving people. Keep in mind that Kessler's is owned by its employees. So let me ask you this. Are you a good enough leader that you can be an owner who leads other owners?
Don't worry, you don't have to know about diamonds. We can teach you about diamonds. But the people we're looking for aren't looking for a job.
Did someone pop into your head just now? Do you think you might know who we're looking for?
Give that person a call.
Send them an email. Tell them to walk into Kessler's Diamonds and say to the person who greets them,
I think I want to work here.
Welcome to Kessler's. A fantastic place to buy jewelry and a wonderful place to work.
For the store nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Abby Windows.
Is your bathroom stuck in the 90s? Sick of looking at that pink and brass? Then it's time for an upgrade. Abby Home can customize a new tub or shower conversion just for you. If you like the look of tile, but don't want the maintenance and issues that come with it, we're your perfect fit. We pull all the permits, take it down to the studs, and get you a whole new look in 2 days. Go to myabbyhome.com to learn more. Right now, get 0% interest for 24 months and get 20% off your project. If somebody asks you if you know a guy in the business, you can say no, but I know a girl.
Cloudy today, mild temperatures, a high of 43 degrees. Some rain possible, scattered, however. Same for tomorrow with a high of 42. 53 your high on Friday. Then we cool off for the weekend, a high of just 31 on Saturday and 35 on Sunday. It's 37 degrees and cloudy in Milwaukee at 12:16. Well, you've heard of the Olympic Games, you've heard of the X Games. This is nowhere close to either of those things, but it is coming back this Saturday for its second year to the St. Johns County Fairgrounds in Florida.
The Florida Man Games.
Yeah, that's right, Jessica. The Florida Man Games are back.
Oh, man. The Florida Man. What is he up to today?
Well, a celebration of all things wacky. The wacky hijinks of the so-called everyday Florida man will be on display at the county fairgrounds March 2nd. Events this year include a lawnmower race and the evading arrest obstacle course, now featuring real police officers. Who could have come up with such an idea for the Florida Man Games? Think about all the crazy stories you hear, the police blotter, the scanners. That must be a Florida person, right? Well, they've captured that idea and thrown it into this athletic, in air quotes, competition. The gentleman who created the Florida Man Games is Pete Melfi, and he joins us on the radio right now. Hello, Pete.
Hey, how y'all doing? Great to be with you. What an intro. Wow, that made me feel important. I promise you that.
Did we bring people into the psyche and the mindset? Did we allow people to vision the Florida Man Games? How did we do?
You definitely got them off to a good start. Hopefully I can paint the rest of the picture for you.
So, Pete, how did you come up with this idea?
There was definitely some drinking involved. I can tell you that much for sure. But, I love these Florida Man stories. Like we all love these Florida Man stories, right? They're all hilarious. I mean, it's just unlimited possibilities what Florida Man's going to get himself into. So I thought, how do we turn this into an athletic competition and give people a chance to live the headlines without the jail time? So that's kind of the premise of the Florida Man Games. And I think, as wacky as they are, and trust me, I'm the first to make a joke about this being a goofy competition as well. But I think any of these guys who compete in this will tell you it takes a little bit of athleticism. Not a whole lot, but it takes a little bit of athleticism to do it.
Well, you don't want to spill the beer as you have that floaty around your waist bouncing into another overweight Florida man. I guess that's part of the idea behind it. But, you bring up an interesting point. So there's a website that I go to. It's called FARC, and FARC is full of the strangest, weirdest headlines you could ever imagine, and they categorize each story with amusing or some sort of trigger headline. There is a separate category for Florida, right? So you're not lying. Like the craziest stories that end up becoming headline news come out of the state of Florida.
Yeah, and listen, we're in on the joke. We get it. I'm a lifelong Floridian. I was born and raised here. We embrace our weird, and that's what the Florida Man Games is about, is embracing that weird and just being untethered, unfettered Floridians for a day.
Have you ever been the Florida Man?
I have never. You know what? I shouldn't answer that because maybe if I say no, maybe I'm not qualified to even put on this event. But I have definitely had my share of Florida Man moments. I haven't been caught for all of them, but I have. Living in Florida, it's almost unavoidable.
We do have the trailer airing right now. If you text the word watch to our talk and text line at 855-616-1620, text the word watch, and you'll see the trailer. The trailer is definitely better for video than just playing on the radio, but you'll see an idea of what this is all about. I'd reference the evading arrest obstacle course now featuring real police officers. How complicated or tricky is it to get actual police officers to devote some time to Florida Man Games?
You would be surprised how easy it is, actually. I mean, we practically had a waiting list of police officers that wanted to do this. Because just like Florida Man wants to show off his skills at evading arrest, your Florida police officers are out here to prove they're not getting away from me. I do this for a living. And they caught all but one of our competitors last year. One of our competitors got away from the police officer last year. So they take a lot of pride in doing it. And even to do staffing at the event, security, like when I put the application in, I'm telling you, it wasn't minutes before the entire day was filled by police officers who wanted to be a part of this thing in some way.
Okay, what about the Florida woman, though? Because I've been in news for about 20 years, and it tended to be early on, all these stories about the Florida man, but I feel like the last couple of years, the Florida woman is popping out.
Yes, and I will tell you, you know it as well as I do, some of the best Florida man stories are actually Florida woman stories. So we do have a Florida woman on every team this year, which is really cool. That's something we didn't have last year. And we have an all-Florida woman team. Our team out of Gainesville, they're called the Ball Busters. And it's 5 women, and they are so excited to get out here and compete against these Florida men. I'm very excited about that kind of twist of events for this year. You know, you always, when you do things like this, you always want to do something a little different every year, right? So I'm really excited about bringing the Florida women into the fold this year.
Pete, I'm pretty sure I could have guessed that team name if you'd given me enough time. Dishwasher Safe would have been my backup. Are there any events that you really appreciate? What events really stand out to you that is must see at the Florida Man Games?
So we touched on evading arrest. That's a big one, but also a new event that we're unveiling this year that every Floridian is familiar with and qualified to compete in, the Hurricane Party Prep Grocery Aisle Brawl. And this is where our Florida men are literally fighting each other for the last of the Solo cups, the beer, and the toilet paper on the shelf. That one's going to be wild. We're going to use those carts in a very special way at some point.
Okay, I'm also curious. A lot of people know about the Mechanical Bull. Here in Milwaukee for a while, we had a Mexican restaurant, where you could ride a pepper, but you guys have a mechanical gator. How appropriate is that? How popular is that one?
It's perfect, and it's extremely popular. I mean, you've always got those, they call them the Instagrammable moments, right? And that's one that you hop on that thing and one of your friends is always taking a video for Instagram on the mechanical gator. It's the only mechanical gator in the state of Florida. And so there is a line all day long to ride that thing. It's really cool.
It does look like fun.
Hey, good job getting your hands on that. Pete Malfay is the founder of the Florida Man Games, Saturday, March 2nd, if you're headed down. A lot of Wisconsinites in Florida may want to check this out, some snowbirds. The weaponized pool noodle battle. Can you walk me through this?
Yeah, absolutely. So this happens in a 20-foot mud pit, and these guys are basically taking these PVC reinforced pool noodles, thrown together with a whole lot of duct tape, and they're trying to fight each other out of this mud pit. And the first one that takes the other one out is the winner. This is a combative one. This is one the audience really gets into. You know, it's funny because we talk about how goofy these competitions are. But, boy, you know it. I mean, you put 2 guys against each other in a competition, they're going to compete. We want to compete as guys. So no matter what you throw in front of our Florida men out there, they're going to go the hardest. There's actually some added incentive this year because we're giving away $500 cash to the winner of each individual competition, as well as $5,000 cash to the overall winner. So they have a chance to win real money at the end of every single challenge. So that's a little more incentive to be competitive.
I'm curious which competition you think a Wisconsin man might win at the Florida Man Games.
Right. I'm sure there's some kind of cheese curd thing we can throw in there, right? I mean, we might be able to... Wisconsin, you guys are good with snow, right? So you guys are good at slippery things.
Sure.
I'm going to say there's a part of the evading arrest obstacle course where you are going to have to slide through a famous rapper's Miami bedroom that's got baby oil all over the ground.
Oh,
maybe you can put together who I'm thinking of.
Oh, geez.
But,
we know.
Can't legally say his name because I'm sure he's still got some very expensive lawyers. But, yeah, so that might be one that a Wisconsinite would be good at because you're used to slipping and sliding around on all that ice.
Noted. All right.
I was thinking like maybe human beer pong or the lawnmower race or something like that.
Human beer pong, I think would be. I think
the
you're right on that,
Wisconsin man
Jessica.
might dominate.
I love this. I think it's great. It is the Florida Man Games, the second consecutive year at the St. Johns County Fairgrounds in Florida. A Saturday, March 2nd. Still time to catch a flight and head on down. Pete, we appreciate your time. Congratulations on year number 2. You can best we'll be reaching out before year number 3.
Awesome. I look forward to hearing from you. And it's March 1st, by the way, thefloridamangames.com. And thank y'all so much for your time. This is a lot of fun.
My mistake. So it's March 1st. So it's Saturday. I'm sorry. Yes, March 1st, not March 2nd. So still time to grab your flight.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Cheers,
you, Pete.
Awesome. Y'all take care.
You do the same. 1226 in WTMJ. My money's on the ball busters.
Politics, work, daily stressors. Let's take a break from all that and get centered, Christ-centered. I'm Pastor Tim Butker. Join me each week for Christian Crusaders, a broadcast that highlights the gospel, the good news of Jesus, and our belief in the authoritative Word of God. Christ-centered, gospel-oriented, Bible-based, Christian Crusaders. Please join us Sundays at 6 a.m. on WTMJ. We'd love to have you worship with us.
Well, if you're headed down to Florida for the Florida Man Games, you might need someone to watch the dog. How about the Hounds and Tap in Menominee Falls? I'm telling you, you're going to get away for a nice long weekend. You're going to spend your Saturday at the Florida Man Games. You're going to participate in the lawnmower race, maybe? Well, somebody's got to watch your dog. The Hounds and Tap in Menominee Falls, the place to be. It is designed for dogs, 12,000 square foot facility, and it really is not a retrofit. It's designed for dogs to enjoy. Doggy daycare, boarding, and grooming services. We had our dog night there for an overnight stay. Got a nail trim as well as part of the stay. It was wonderful. You can also hang out, right? The weather's starting to get a little nicer. Check out the indoor-outdoor tavern, catch a game, enjoy some food from the food truck, and have a beverage at the Hounds and Tap. It's in Menominee Falls. Check out the website, houndsandtap.com.
Hey, boaters!
Where else are you going to find weather stripping for a 77 Carver? That's what he said, and I don't know the answer to that one, but he sure was glad he found it here. I'm Dave Doro with Kendor Marine, and when it comes to boat parts and supplies, we have it all. If you're a boater and you need it, we got it. And that's why you got to get here. Boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey, boaters! Cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
KendorMarine.com.
Hey, boaters!
Inexperienced boaters are more than welcome here, because at Kendor Marine you'll find all the answers to your questions on parts, installation, troubleshooting, and the best part is, when we figure out what you need, we can grab it from our massive inventory of boat parts and supplies that no one around can match. I'm Dave Doro, and boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey, boaters! Cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
KendorMarine.com.
Now, about your house. Eric Brown is the president of Siding Unlimited, your contractor for new windows, roofing, siding, decks, and a whole lot more. He knows about your house. So what do you know, Eric?
Siding is what pops on your home. Clean lines, beautiful accents, and wonderful colors can make your home really look amazing. Homeowners are always looking to add curb appeal when buying new siding, and a well-installed product from Siding Unlimited will definitely deliver a grand appeal. There is so much more to gain from replacing your siding other than the curb appeal you're already seeking. There is so much value in having new siding with low maintenance. Just an annual cleaning with the hose is all you really need to do. You can't get much lower maintenance than that. The process of replacing siding gives homeowners a fresh start, a new understanding knowing that we can peel back the old stuff and get a real in-depth inspection on the walls on your home and the structural integrity. How has the home performed over the past 20 years? We'll see it all when removing the old siding. There's a high percentage your home is missing the most important factor in siding a home, and that's a working water barrier. Many homes built in the 1990s and prior don't have a water barrier beneath the siding, and homes that were built in the 90s that do have one probably have a water barrier that was installed incorrectly. New siding replacement assures us that we install the water barrier correctly and protect the home moving forward. Our process always includes adding insulation board to the wall. This gives you a water barrier underlayment and additional R value, which is an energy coefficient, so warmer walls, adding more value to the project than the expected curb appeal. As the new siding goes back on, we know your home will be ready to manage water well into the future and look amazing doing so.
Eric and his crews at Siding Unlimited are your go-to contractor here for siding and also replacement windows, roofing, and decks. Take the next step. Check them out at sidingunlimited.com. Siding Unlimited, siding and a whole lot more.
It's 12:30. I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News. It's Wednesday, February 26th. Your top story, sexual misconduct charges against a substitute teacher.
I'm Jessica Tighe. A Wisconsin man found after going missing in the rainforest.
Scattered rain today with a high of 42 degrees. Mostly cloudy skies today and tonight with a low of 34. Chance of rain on Thursday, mostly cloudy and breezy with a high of 43 up to 53 on Friday. It's 37 and cloudy in Milwaukee. At 12:31 from the WTMJ breaking newsroom, a former substitute teacher at Kenosha Bradford High School facing 17 counts of sexual misconduct for allegedly sending inappropriate messages to a teen student. 32-year-old Alex Pointer is accused of sending sexual messages to a then 15-year-old male student. This happened last year. The district says Pointer was not fired or terminated from his position, but instead he resigned in April. Pointer was also a substitute teacher in West Dallas at Nicolay Union High School. He faces nearly 60 years in prison.
A man from Pewaukee is safe today after he went missing in the jungles of Puerto Rico for 2 days. Abdur Rahman was hiking in El Yunque Sunday when he got separated from his group. His son-in-law tells TMJ4 Rahman was found in the jungle hungry, but otherwise in good condition.
He is fully conscious. He's talking. He knows everything. We are so thankful to God and all those Puerto Rican people who did all the work, and he's doing wonderful right now.
El Yunque is a popular tourist spot and the only tropical rainforest overseen by the U.S. Forest Service.
Recurring issues continuing to hamper Milwaukee's streetcar service.
Today marks the 6th day in a row the Hop has encountered some form of service delay. The L line is once again dealing with weather-related issues to track switches, while the M line is running a reduced schedule after a car crashed into a streetcar on Sunday. City Operations Manager for the Department of Public Works, Chuck Schumacher, said last week the switch issue stems from winter debris.
Until it's cleaned out, it really can't be functional from a safety perspective.
The two switches would cost $200,000 total to replace. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
The results are in from the Milwaukee Police Department's latest satisfaction survey.
More than 1,000 residents were surveyed, and it said about a third of them are not very satisfied with or not at all satisfied with police. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel ran some of the numbers. Reckless driving remains a top concern, and about 33% of residents who were the victim of a crime said they did not report it. Why? Because they didn't think police could actually help, or because they didn't expect to be treated fairly. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
Well, the firing of 2,000 National Park and U.S. Forest staff will impact your next trip to national parks.
Neil Hoke is a retired National Park Ranger and says a reduction in staffing will cause problems for visitors coming to places like Apostle Island's National Lakeshore.
At the parks where you have to go through an entrance station in order to get into the park, there's going to be a lot longer lines.
Besides long lines, limited trail access, and fewer number of maintenance workers and emergency crews will pose significant problems at parks moving forward.
There won't be as many people who would be available to conduct search and rescues when there's emergencies or respond when people get hurt. For a lot of people, it'll be an inconvenience. For a few people, it could be a matter of life and death.
Sean Brenda, WTMJ News.
Gotta get those nuggets. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. You'll understand when we come back. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 12:34.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
A cancer diagnosis shouldn't mean we can't make plans. It shouldn't mean living without joy or optimism. Cancer shouldn't be calling the shots. At the Fredert and the Medical College of Wisconsin Cancer Network, we're pushing to put cancer in its place by pulling together teams of leading specialists and researchers who work tirelessly for breakthroughs, who are developing innovative ways to treat every cancer, to treat your cancer. And by providing the largest cancer clinical trials treatment program in Wisconsin, so there are more treatment options and more reasons to be hopeful. So let's keep innovating. Let's keep discovering. Let's push to make every cancer diagnosis a story of survivorship and bring back the lightness of life that cancer takes away. To learn more about breakthrough cancer care, visit fredert.com/cancer.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. It's the Brewers and Dodgers this afternoon. First pitch set for 2:10. Hear the game right here on WTMJ. At some point, you'll see veteran Mark Canha in the lineup. The Brewers signed Canha to a minor league contract. You might remember the name. He was acquired by the Brewers in a trade deadline deal in 2023.
I loved my last stint here. It was an awesome time for me, and happy to be back here. I love this group. I love this staff and everything, and it's just a good fit.
On-field activities begin Thursday at the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis, and after a Tuesday night loss to the Rockets in Houston, the Bucs are back home Thursday night to take on the Denver Nuggets. Oh, now I get it.
There you go.
Gotta get those nuggets.
It was a tease.
I thought it was a McDonald's reference.
Gotta get those nuggets. Taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. We do have something that popped up now in our area down in Kenosha County. Not that big of a deal, though, but I do want to let you know in case you're headed that way. 4194 north at the ramp from Wisconsin 158. Right shoulder is blocked due to a car that's broken down. The car's off to the side. It's a small one. Traffic is moving freely around it. So really no problems, but that's the only thing on the system at this point.
43 degrees your high today. Going to be a little cloudy and expect some rain scattered or up about the area. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low of 34. Thursday looks a lot like today. Isolated chance of rain, mostly cloudy, breezy, a high of 43. Up to 53 on Friday, cloudy and windy. We cool off on Saturday and Sunday for that matter with highs in the mid-30s. 37, cloudy in Milwaukee at 12:38. Time for a weekly check-in in Washington, D.C. The nation's capital is where we find CBS correspondent, it is Scott McFarland, lover of everything 90s R&B. I get the feeling this is going to be a layup for Scott. Hey, Scott.
It's a good song.
Yeah, it is. And if you had your Google machine in front of you, you'd know this was a top 10 hit this week in 1992.
Oh.
Shanice Wilson, I Love Your Smile.
How do you have all of that knowledge back there? That it was a hit this week.
It's such a useless bit of knowledge. I don't know what to do with it.
I don't think Shazam can pick it up as fast as Scott does. I think Scott's quicker than the app on your phone.
Oh, I used to smell this song all
It's
the
such a
time.
nice change of pace from the Washington fire hose of toxicity. I really do appreciate it.
Well, we just had the founder of the Florida Man Games on with us, Scott. We got to send you down there this weekend to cover the Florida Man Games. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's impressive.
And really necessary, isn't it? It's something we have to do.
Well, let me ask you about this because there are some potential fireworks. I don't know, at Trump's first cabinet meeting today. Elon Musk is there, of course, appointed by Trump. All the folks who are in the room with them, not necessarily appointed, though some were. How is Elon Musk being received by House Republicans at this first cabinet meeting?
Well, there's been little, pushback from Republican allies of Donald Trump publicly. I mean, to push back on Elon Musk right now is to push back on the president, and that's not something they're keen on doing politically at this moment in time. So it's been pretty muted, to be clear. But this Doge outfit that he is either running or a very key part of is getting pushback from some Republicans because their constituents don't like the rapidity of these cuts, the scope of these cuts, and seemingly the lack of precision to these cuts, because ultimately their constituents are going to get squeezed some way, somehow. And Congressman Grothman of Wisconsin is one of those who got some of that pushback at a recent town hall community event. I think it's been so strong against some Republicans, I think they're going to dial back the town hall events versus dial up their criticism of Elon Musk.
What are the main takeaways from the first official cabinet meeting of Trump's second term?
Well, he's pushing ahead with this plan to do more cuts of federal workers. I think he was unequivocal during that cabinet meeting that he's going to extend the cutbacks and depart more federal workers at all agencies and potentially in all parts of the country. This is a mandate I think he thinks he's gotten from the voters, and he's trying to execute. But this is not the way to end the deficit. I mean, if you're going to try to get trillions of dollars knocked off the federal deficit, cutting federal workers is not going to do anything toward that. The amount of money you save by cutting federal workers is more of a rounding error when you're talking about trillions of dollars. But he took part of this cabinet meeting to make clear he's going to continue doing it.
Yeah, so we can expect more workforce cuts on the horizon at the federal level. How deep does it go here, Scott? I mean, is there any federal department that is off limits?
Seemingly, they're going to continue to make investments in border and immigration-related agencies. The FBI is hiring, or the Department of Justice is hiring in certain offices. There's a hiring freeze at the DEA, but the Immigration and Enforcement and Customs and Border Protection will likely be hiring soon, if not already. So they're going to make investments in things that he believes are top-line priorities. But it's always tricky to draw the line as what's a priority and what's a high-level priority, because there have been cutbacks announced over the past 48 hours in the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. That used to be politically toxic, impossible to do, because everybody would push back so hard. But he is cutting the VA. They're cutting workers. It's unclear if it's going to impact the wait times you have at the hospital or the clinic, but there's really been no Republican protest to it.
Scott, President Trump says the U.S. will sell $5 million gold cards. And he's not talking about those gold cards that Starbucks had back in the day before the app was ever around. What is the idea behind the gold card, and why does he want them?
First of all, I still have the Starbucks gold card because I'm old school.
So do I.
But and when I show it in the store, everybody's always astonished. But you know what? That's part of the reason you keep it.
Oh, and you still use it?
Gold. Well, it gives the barista something to laugh about, so why not?
Okay.
The gold cards the president's talking about would be a way, I guess, bypassing some of the immigration hurdles to become a citizen, or I guess would be characterized as green card status right now. It would cost $5 million or more, which the president said would help make a chip away at the debt. I'm not sure you do that with a few $5 million gold cards, but there's a broader, I think, statement about immigration being made there that his supporters are going to love, his detractors are going to hate. that you're making it a country that's welcoming only to those who have affluence or money. It's not what's etched on the Statue of Liberty at Ellis Island. But at the same time, he did win overwhelmingly an election that he's promised to be a change agent at the border on. And I think he thinks he's got the license to do it. And again, Republican pushback has been minimal, if non-existent.
So, Scott, let me ask you more about the national debt, right? I mean, every administration going back, I don't know how many decades, has contributed to the national debt being where it is. Do you get the feeling that people really care about it? Just in everyday life, it just feels so astronomical to try and reduce or eliminate. I don't expect it to happen in my lifetime. It doesn't bother me as an American that the national debt is what it is. Now, where those dollars go, I get the back and forth on that and the debate and argument, but I'm not expecting the national debt to ever go away.
You're never going to lose an election saying we should curb the federal deficit. That's a winner in all circles, in all political jurisdictions. But how much do people care about it? How much are they willing to make sacrifices to achieve that goal? That's a different issue. When you have to cut veteran services, when you have to cut perhaps people's Medicaid or their Social Security, suddenly the national debt doesn't become as big a priority on their list of priorities. So in the broader sense, people like the idea, and there are any number of members of Congress who've made this a priority, getting after this national debt. But when it comes time to figure out what you're going to cut, boy, you really got to get into some very meaty, important things. And the bill that passed the U.S. House last night so narrowly has the prospect of cutting into Medicaid. And if they push forward further with this bill and it cuts Medicaid, you just watch for the kickback from constituents. And there's concern that that would be a non-starter for people who would otherwise say they really do like the idea of cutting the national debt.
Scott, I noticed on your Twitter feed, I think it was last night, you were like, ooh, a twist. The House canceled a vote on the budget, then added it back to the agenda last minute. What was that all about?
You get used to this. The U.S. House still has that stubbornly narrow majority. Republicans can lose only one Republican on a vote and still have the thing pass party line. And they lost one Republican last night, but still passed their budget. But it looked earlier in the evening like they weren't going to get past the finish line, so they canceled and rescheduled the vote and had some machinations there. It's all well and good on the budget vote, but on March 14th is a deadline for a government shutdown, and that has the same narrow prospect of an impasse. And then there's a debt ceiling increase that's needed by the end of spring or early summer. They still have that one vote to spare. It's fine on a budget that doesn't have any actual impact right now on our lives, but when those other votes come up, we'll feel it if they can't get the votes lined up.
Scott, is anybody in the nation's capital celebrating National Pistachio Day?
Who isn't? I mean, really, who isn't at this point? We all celebrate in our own ways, though. I guess some more silently than others.
Well, I had a Starbucks. Gina, our producer, went and got me a pistachio cream cold foam cold brew or something, and it was delicious on National Pistachio Day.
Did you use the gold card? Did you use the gold card?
I don't have one. I thought Jessica was the only person in existence that still had hers, but no, we have found another match in you.
There's two of us now.
Well, enjoy. Happy National Pistachio Day for those who observe this, and hopefully it makes its way around Washington. Scott, always great insight. We appreciate checking in with you each and every week.
Thanks, Scott.
Talk to you next week. Thanks.
CBS congressional correspondent Scott McFarland joining us here on WTMJ. Gina will get this up on the podcast page. And a reminder, take us with you wherever you go. Subscribe to the Wisconsin's Midday News podcast, built by Siding Unlimited. In fact, we'll make it easy for you. Text the word Midday to our talk and text line, 855-616-1620. We'll send you the podcast page right to your mobile device. 1247 on WTMJ. Coming up next, is it a narco wig? Is it a drug rug? Is it a wig? Is it a wig rig? We'll explain after this.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Chief Anti-Heartbreak Officer Brian Wickert. While national headlines talk about the inventory of homes for sale being a lot higher this year, that's still not the case in most of Wisconsin. The good news is that now, even in winter, AccuNet's experienced loan consultants are already helping many of our pre-approved home shoppers become homeowners and avoid the heartbreak of losing in a multi-offer situation.
Sure, you can go with a flimsy, unimaginative bank pre-approval, or you can present your offer with an AccuNet rock-solid, fully verified, and guaranteed pre-approval that also might come with the phrase that really makes sellers happy: no appraisal required. When an appraisal is needed, we can also show you in dollars and cents what it means to willingly pay a certain dollar amount over the appraised value if that's what's needed to win, which is usually a lot less scary than people imagine. Reduce your risk of home shopper heartbreak by getting started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
At the Milwaukee Auto Show, we have a vehicle for almost everything, and we certainly have a vehicle for your thing. The Auto Show has the largest selection of vehicles from different manufacturers all in one place. Baird Center, the 22nd through the 2nd. Buy tickets online, no added fees. AutoShowMilwaukee.com.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Many times, patients have symptoms they didn't know were actually related to their airway breathing issues.
I was suffering from sinus issues, jaw issues, and neck pain. I guess I just kind of had my breaking point.
Unfortunately, this is typical. But until you get to the root of your problem, it's going to just persist. Fortunately, Jody took action, and the results were typical as well.
My quality of life is so different. But one of the first things that I noticed was my breathing. I don't ever remember being able to breathe like that.
Being able to breathe freely is life-changing, and the effects can go beyond that.
Sleeping better, having more energy, and it seemed as if all of those symptoms that I had just melted away.
And thank heavens for that, because at Advent, results are what drive us, helping you breathe well so you can live better.
Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
Feeling like winter inside your house? WTMJ's Vince Vitrano for USA Insulation. Many homes built before 1980 have little to no insulation. Anything you do, better than what you got, but you call USA and now you've got the best. Their foam injection method, 35% more efficient than your standard wall insulation. Most jobs done in as little as a day. Some homeowners qualify for thousands in rebates and discounts. Every USA customer begins saving money day one. USAinsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
Kind of gloomy, kind of cloudy today, a little rainy, and a high of 43 degrees. Tomorrow looks much the same with a high of 42. Rain expected, scattered under cloudy skies. Friday's high 53. Cooling off on the weekend here. You might see some sun, but it's going to be a little chillier with highs expected to be in the mid-30s. It is 37 degrees and cloudy in Milwaukee at 12:51. Wrapping up Wisconsin's Midday News, Greg and Jessica with you for a few more minutes.
This is kind of interesting. During our first hour of Wisconsin's Midday News, we invited the former VP of HR at SpaceX onto the show, Randy Knaflick. He's actually a Milwaukee native. And it was a fascinating discussion about what it is like to work directly with Elon Musk. I mean, this is the man that people across the country he's the most talked about man in the country right now. He's the richest man in the world. Today, he was at the first cabinet meeting of Trump's second term right there next to him. And we were talking to him about a number of things, including that email that went out to federal workers last week saying, hey, let me know 5 things you did. Let me know 5 accomplishments. And a lot of people were all up in arms about that. And there's a lot of confusion about it. Should they respond? Should they not? And Randy said what he thought Musk was looking for was really not what were your accomplishments. Like Musk didn't even really care what you wrote, that it was more about that you responded, that you were actually working. And he also said to figure out whether there are dead people on the payroll. And he didn't hear what was happening in this cabinet meeting because he was actually on his way over here to interview with us, and he was sitting outside. So now here we go. You have President Donald Trump in this second-term cabinet meeting, and Elon Musk said exactly that. He said, I think this email was wrongly interpreted as a performance review, and actually it was a pulse check, which I love because Randy was right on the money with that. And he said, we think there are a number of people on the government payroll who are dead, which is probably why they can't respond.
I never had an issue with the question. Give me 5 things. List off 5 things you did last week. No question about that at all. That should be a very easy, simple email to write back to the one who is asking you to do it. It just became such a weird space because some of these places that the folks are working for would say, no, don't respond to the email. What, am I supposed to or am I not supposed to? And then Trump said, well, if you don't, you're going to be semi-fired or fired. Well, what does that mean, right? This circle of confusion born from that email is kind of what left people scratching their heads and wondering about it. But on its surface, that should be a very easy thing for anybody to do.
Well, and Musk said during this cabinet meeting today that the will was not to be unfair. However, President Trump quickly chimed in and did say that those federal workers who have not replied to the email are on the bubble and at risk of getting fired.
Yeah, very interesting. Check out the interview. Very fascinating interview with Randy Knaflick, former VP of HR at SpaceX. And then there's this, a hairy situation at an airport in South America.
He's one drug smuggler who didn't make it past police in Colombia. Video shows officials at Cartagena Airport using scissors to carefully remove 220 grams of cocaine that had been packaged in dozens of small bags and placed beneath the man's meticulously attached toupee as he tried to board a flight to Amsterdam. They named his disguise a narco wig, but drug rug would have worked too. Street value of the cocaine more than $10,000. Police say the suspect has 2 previous drug trafficking convictions. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Doesn't everybody in Colombia have a drug trafficking conviction of some sort?
Jeez. It's kind of creepy. There's this police video that was released, and if you look at it, it captures the moment an officer, like wearing the blue gloves and everything, carefully removes the suspect's wig with scissors, revealing all these like a dozen packets of cocaine, but it's kind of gross. Like, ooh.
What do you like better, narco wig or drug rug?
Drug rug.
You like drug rug better? Gina, Do you have a vote in this? Narco wig or drug rug?
Drug rug for sure.
Okay. I like wig rig. I would have also accepted syrup of figs. It's 12:55 on WTMJ.
What? Here it is. Yelich sends one to right center and deep. Get up! Get up! Get out of here and gone for Yelich. He has tied the game. The pitch. Ryan Braun sends it to left center and deep. Get up! Get out of here! Gone for Ryan Braun. He just hit a walk-off out of here. Wow. You can't do it any better than that.
I'm Libby Collins. This week on WTMJ Conversations, we talk about something we all have in common. Furniture, with Marty Komisar from family-owned Built Right Furniture.
Milwaukee is not known as being